A man arrives in America with exactly $2.50 in his pocket. He has no product, no staff, and no legitimate business. Yet within months, he is extracting $1 million a day from the public. This is Charles Ponzi. History remembers him as the architect of the world's most famous financial crime, but the reality is more embarrassing. He was a failed waiter and petty thief who reached for a fortune because he refused to accept his own mediocrity. This chart illustrates the pitch that trapped his victims. While legitimate banks offered a flat 5% return per year, Ponzi promised 50% profit in just 45 days. Annualized, that is a 400% spike. He succeeded because he found a glitch in human psychology, a blind spot that modern scammers like Bernie Madoff continue to exploit today. Financial markets are vulnerable to psychological blind spots that mask mathematical impossibilities. Our own greed often does the scammers' work for them. Before the millions, Ponzi was a desperate immigrant struggling to survive. He drifted through low-paying jobs, driven by an ambition that far outpaced his ethics. His life changed when he discovered a piece of paper called an international reply coupon. He realized there was a pricing loophole between the Italian and American postal systems. This diagram shows the concept of arbitrage. You buy an asset for pennies in one market, in this case Italy, and immediately trade it for a higher value in another market, like the United States. On paper, it locks in a guaranteed profit. But there was a scale problem. To pay the returns he promised his early investors, Ponzi would have needed to physically move 160 million of these coupons across the Atlantic. At the time, only 27,000 of these coupons actually existed in the entire world. Rather than building a logistics business that was physically impossible, Ponzi weaponized a theoretical fantasy. He chose to ignore reality because reality couldn't scale fast enough. Ponzi didn't target the wealthy elite. He took money from hard-working immigrants, widows, and Boston police officers. When a person sees their neighbor buy a new car or pay off their debts with Ponzi money, financial logic vanishes. Hope becomes a more powerful motivator than arithmetic. A crowd's collective belief can validate even the most obvious lie. When thousands line up around a city block to hand over their life savings, the sheer size of the crowd serves as proof. The mechanical secret was simple. The system moved fresh cash from new investors directly into the pockets of old investors. There was no actual investment vehicle, just money moving in a circle. When greed hijacks a crowd, critical thinking dies. The victims themselves become the fuel that keeps the scam alive. The math eventually caught up. Journalists calculated the sheer impossibility of his claims, noting that Ponzi would need a fleet of Titanic-sized ships moving nothing but stamps just to stay solvent. As the smart money began to exit, hope turned into panic. Crowds rushed his office to withdraw their life savings before the doors closed. Ponzi's ultimate manipulation happened during this crash. He calmly walked out to the terrified mob and handed out coffee and donuts. He was so convincing that half the people in line actually believed him and went home. But within weeks, the government raided his office. They found no stamps, no coupons, and millions of dollars in debt. Every scheme of this nature shares the same fatal weakness. A lie built on infinite growth cannot survive in a world of finite math. Charles Ponzi died penniless in a charity hospital, but his exact blueprint continues to thrive globally. You see it in guaranteed crypto bots, secret trading signals, and luxury financial influencers promising high-yield returns with zero work. The technology evolves, but the underlying human vulnerabilities remain unchanged. Greed and the fear of missing out still override our better judgment. This leads to the street's rule of wealth. If you don't know where the yield is coming from, you are the yield. I want you to audit your own investments for anything promising high returns with zero risk. If you find one, get out now. Tell the community about the biggest too-good-to-be-true offer you've seen in the comments, and subscribe to join a community that values truth over hype.